Hello and welcome to ESAT. I am Ngidu Walde with the news in brief. Yemi Hailemariam, partner of Andargachew Tsige, an Ethiopian-born British father of three in Desro in Ethiopia, wrote a letter to UK's Prime Minister asking the government to negotiate his release. Today marks 3 years since British father Andy Tsige was first illegally kidnapped from an international airport in Yemen and rendered to Ethiopia's death row. Reprieve, an international organization representing the family, said in a statement that Andy's partner, Yemi Hailemariam, has written to the Prime Minister, Theresa May, asking her to negotiate Andy's return home to her and their 3 children. The children haven't spoken to their father since December 2014. Andy is a democracy activist and political opponent of the Ethiopian regime. He was convicted on trumped-up charges in his absence in 2009 while living in London with his family. He was sentenced to days in absentia. Yemi writes to the Prime Minister saying she is still at loss about how to explain to the children why their dad cannot come home. Yemi Hailemariam, who stood against Theresa May in her Maidenhead constituency during the recent general election in order to bring Andy's case to her attention, also asks the Prime Minister to meet with her so she can explain Andy's desperate situation. Maya Foa, director of Reprieve, said Theresa May needs to show she has the strength to stand up to the Ethiopian Prime Minister and negotiate Andy's return home to his family. The director said there is no excuse for the Prime Minister abandoning one of her citizens. At the very least, she owes Yemi an hour of her time to explain why there has not been progress in Andy's case and what she intends to do about it. A prominent Ethiopian businessman says ruling party conglomerates and businesses run under the guise of private ownership but actually belong to the ruling party have negatively impacted fair competition and are taking unfair advantage. Yesusork Zafu, the former president of the Ethiopia and Addis Ababa Chamber of Commerce, was speaking at a government-sponsored forum where he said although the law clearly prohibits political parties from engaging in business activities, the fact is that the business environment in the country is hugely dominated by party-owned and affiliated companies. The finance sector, which he said was his area of engagement, is completely dominated by party-owned and affiliated businesses against the laws of the country. Mr. Zafu said a selected few are benefiting from the unfair business competition and called for a frank discussion on the issue. ESAT, worth billions of dollars, is a conglomerate owned by the ruling party TPLF and controls every aspect of business in Ethiopia, from mega manufacturing industries to import-export and small-scale retail. ESAT unfairly dominates all types of business in the country. The CEO of ESAT, Azem Mesfin, who is the widow of the late dictator Meles Zenawi, in a recent interview with a TPLF-affiliated media, denied the conglomerate is owned by TPLF. She also misrepresented a London court procedural decision to prove her point, saying the court ruled that ESAT is not a TPLF company. The London court, according to documents seen by ESAT, did not pass such a verdict in an ongoing lawsuit case brought by an Ethiopian businessman against a sister company of ESAT headquartered in London. Nigeria's state security agencies say they have foiled plans by militants to detonate explosives in 4 northern cities during Eid. The BBC quoted the Department of State Services as saying that the attacks were planned in 4 cities during the June 26 and 27 public holidays to celebrate Eid, which marks the end of Islam's holy month of Ramadan. They said they had arrested 3 suspects and seized weapons including 8 assault rifles, 27 hand grenades and live munitions. The statement said their aim was to hit on soft targets such as markets, public parks, public processions, recreation centers, as well as worship centers, especially the Eid praying grounds and other densely populated areas. According to the BBC report, the Nigerian Department of State Services did not say who they thought was behind the plans. That ends the news. Thanks for watching.